G'day, it's Mark Briotti here, and we're going to just go through a little bit of detail as to how we do our Facebook advertising. Some of the things that we do is really intense for the layman, but basically, in a nutshell, what we do is we do a lot of testing and reporting on exactly what's happening inside an AdWords, inside a Facebook campaign, especially with the advertising, because once we've got some real stats to go on, we can then decide on what needs to be done next. And we do this through a lot of testing and measuring. Now, most people don't get much testing done. We do a hell of a lot of testing here, and we measure those results, and those numbers will tell us what we need to do next. So we base our decisions on intellectual decisions, not on just what we think is working or what's not working. And just a couple of examples of different ads over the time that not necessarily that I've worked on, but people that I know have worked on. Different ads that they've split tested and measured against each other to see which ones convert the best in different industries. And sometimes with Facebook we've found some incredibly massive results come in really fast, kind of like the old days of Google AdWords. It was very quick, very inexpensive, so we're kind of riding that wave at the moment with Facebook and putting it to its best. And what we do once we test and measure a lot of these ads, we look at the analytics and let the numbers tell us, as I mentioned before, what our next step should be. So if we've got a couple of different ads that are working really well and some others that aren't doing so well, we tend to can the ones that aren't, use more of the ones that are, and try and just tweak those a little bit so they actually outperform even what they're currently doing and so on. Usually what we find is normally, depending on the amount of ads we're testing and the budget, is quite quickly we can determine there's usually about half a dozen to a dozen different ads that really kick some goals. So what we do is we tend to use those and rotate those every couple of months, so it's not the same ad out there all the time, but we do know that these ones are converting the best. So then we look at the analytics and go through things in specific detail, things that, on a layman's term, so that the person or yourself being a client will understand it so it makes sense. So really break down so it's very easy. We don't go through all the industry jargon. So what I would suggest, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Facebook advertising and how it may be able to help you, give us a call on 1300 884 571. And what we do is we normally just set up a time to go through some details to see if Facebook is actually potentially a fit for you or not. And then you can go away and have a think about that with some statistics and some numbers that we can give you based on a campaign that you might like. Thank you so much. This is Mark Briotti.